Hey, we are live. Welcome to Vibey Tuesday. It's Tuesday, June 18th. I keep on forgetting what day it is, so I had to write it down in front of me because I just don't know. I don't know what the day is today. The last couple of days have been a lot. And I'm just going to hang tight for like 20 seconds, and then I'll jump in. Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right, welcome. I feel like today I was like more, I don't know, a little bit like more like anxious and nervous. And I don't know why, but just throwing that out there in case anybody else is feeling those vibes today. And also just wanted to just share, I feel like something that if like there's any time that I'm like really overwhelmed or just going through something kind of heavy, I always like to outline like the wins that I have from that day or from that week or anything. And it's kind of like a gratitude practice, but just being able to celebrate like the really small things in your life, like doing laundry or taking a nap, which will be very on point for what we're talking about today, or doing the dishes, just like whatever, like little things that you can celebrate to be like, fuck yeah, I did that. That felt good. That was a win. And like thinking about this call on the Vibey Tuesdays in general, like one of my intentions this year was to like stay true to my commitments. And it's just felt really good showing up to these calls. And this is the third one now. And just staying committed to it, like no matter what I'm moving through or going through or what happens, like making sure that I have this time committed, like no matter where I'm at, if I'm traveling at any point on a Tuesday, like still doing these calls. And it's just felt really good to like stick to a commitment. And I've never been able to hold down commitments like that. And so this is a very big win for me. So just sharing. Anywho, topic for today is going to be on rest, and as my friend has called it before, she called it sacred rest, and I love that because it really is sacred to put aside time for yourself to rest. And for me personally, I think the last couple of days specifically, but like definitely the last couple of weeks have just been a lot. I feel like there's just been like a lot happening. I'm trying to push myself to do more. I'm trying to kind of like stretch out my bandwidth, and that feels really great to be able to do that. And at the same time, I've noticed that I really have not been taking time to truly rest and like disconnect and give my body a chance to catch up. And with the word integrate, I feel like we use the word integrate constantly, and I think it was just this year that I really started understanding like what that word means. And to me, it just means like giving your body, like when you need like an integration point, it's just giving your body just a minute to catch up with everything that your mind has been processing. Like if you've been going to therapy, if you've been journaling, if you've been going to circle, if you've been whatever like self-awareness practice or movement that you've been in, if you're doing all of these things for a period of time, your body hasn't caught up with all of those changes. Like your mind goes so fast and your body takes a minute to settle in. So if you ever feel like you're all of a sudden exhausted and you don't really understand why, that's just your body signaling you to rest. It's just your body signaling you that you just need to take a break. You need to take a breather. You need to disconnect for a minute, and that it's okay to rest. It's okay to put the work aside. It will always be there. There's no time limit of when we have to get everything done. At least for like, our goals and like all these things in life, we feel like we have to get everything done right now. Like we have to move at this insane pace to meet these goals. When in reality, that's just not the case, and also when you're in that momentum of moving so fast, you don't even have a chance to really listen to any messages or any guidance that are coming through, because it's just going to miss you because you're just moving from one thing to the other. And so the other great thing about rest and stillness and taking time for yourself is like, that is actually the point where you understand what's most important to you. Like, you're able to really see things clearly, you know? And I think of any time that I've been stressed out or trying to do too much, and then I go on a hike and I'm like, damn, that shit is not important. Like, that is not important. It's not important for me to post something on Instagram or to like think of a new package or to do this or whatever. Like, that stuff's not the important stuff. Like, being out in nature, I feel like, is one of the best ways to reconnect to yourself, because you can just be in awe of what's around you. And I think another thing is like being around good friends and being around family. That's another mood boost and another thing that makes you realize like what's really important, which is like love and connection and being in community, you know? And so I think that sometimes it's really healthy for us to just step away from the day-to-day, to step away from this constant movement and momentum to move forward and just take a second to pause. And, you know, for me this last weekend, what that looked like, and I mean, I'm not going to say this was easy, because I feel like I used to have a really good practice of putting my phone away pretty early and then like not looking at it early in the morning. And just since kind of having a professional business Instagram, it's been a little bit different and it's been harder for me to just put it away. But this past weekend, I just was like, okay, I deleted Instagram from my phone and just spent more time out at the beach and out at the park and spent time with family. And honestly, it was such a much needed reset and just like gaining a new perspective, you know, just like seeing things differently, like away from my phone and away from my business and away from the things I'm trying to do. And it felt really like rejuvenating and like really replenishing for my soul and for my body. Like, I was able to like take naps and I watched some trash TV because like it's so good sometimes. There's a new show called The Perfect Match. I don't know that I'm into it, but I watched an episode of it yesterday. And I think specifically with, you know, for women and our menstrual cycles, like I think really tuning into our cycles as well and understanding that there are certain times of our cycle where we are just more tired. Like, we have our winter, which is when we're bleeding, and then when we come out of that and we're in our spring, and then our summer is when we ovulate, which is when you have the peak of energy, and then you kind of start coming into the autumn. And the autumn is maybe where you start to get a little bit more tired, a little bit more introspective. And the winter is also maybe a point of introspection. It's different per person. Every single person is very different. But I know that for me, when I'm in like the autumn and the winter, I am more quiet. I am more introspective. I am more hermity. And I do need more rest and want more rest. And so I think just honoring that as women, even more so, we need rest, you know? Not to say that, you know, we can't still do the things and be like powerful women and like go after what we want, but also just honoring your body and like what it is asking you for in that moment. So I think the biggest thing here is like really just like listening to your body and taking good care of your body. And so if you're tired, if you know that you just need this point of rest, this point of integration, like really tuning into what it is that you need, because it's different for every person, right? Like maybe you just do need a nap. Maybe you do want to go out for a hike or just lay at the park, or maybe you do want to binge some like Love is Blind or Selling OC or whatever. But just listening to what it is that you need and doing that thing, and not comparing yourself to other people, not feeling guilty for taking the time, because it really is sacred rest. It's sacred. And if you kind of put that time aside and in your head, you're like, okay, I know I'm resting today. Today is a rest day. Just how people have cheat days, you know? when it comes to working out. Like, you can have a rest day for yourself, and then you set that time aside, and then you know, like, tomorrow you can pick it back up, you know. But just giving yourself some time, even if it's a scheduled time that you give yourself, is huge. And I think with, you know, there's so much going on in the world, and I feel like a lot of us are moving through some heavy emotions, especially lately. And I think the biggest thing is just knowing that you're not alone in this, that everybody feels all these feels. Maybe they're not conscious of feeling them, but they're feeling them on some level. And yeah, just to know that you are not alone. And I think the thing that helps me the most is, like, with friends, just doing a check-in with friends. I mean, like, how are you? Like, what's going on with you? And typically they're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm going through it, you know? And then you're like, oh my God, me too. And so you can kind of have, like, this point of reference of being like, cool, I'm not crazy. This is normal. I'm not alone. Other people are also going through this. And I think that's another, like, yeah, it's just another thing that just kind of makes you feel a little bit more stable and grounded and supported. And so yeah, so just sacred rest, honoring the body, listening to the body, and knowing that you're not alone, knowing that it's normal to feel tired. But if we do continue to take care of ourselves and give ourselves these moments of connecting to nature, reconnecting to ourselves, like integrating everything, it won't be such a heavy point of exhaustion every time. You know, there'll be more of a balance because you'll be doing and then you'll be resting. And it's like the balance of the masculine and the feminine, and like the sun and the moon. And so if you continue to balance and to take care of yourself as you're moving through this life, you won't hit those moments of burnout and exhaustion as often, you know. There's obviously always times where you're going to, like, expand yourself a little bit more, and then I'm doing that right now. I'm learning how to expand myself, but also not burn out. And there are some times where I'm like, ooh, I did too much. And so I'm, like, learning where my level is, right? Like, how far I can expand myself before I burn out. And so I'm learning, like, these new ways to balance it out. And I have hit burnout a couple times because of it. But it's just, like, learning when you need to rest, what you need to do. So yeah, so we're going to get into a tapping for this. So let me just get this set up. There we go. Okay. So we are going to start up at the top of the head. If you've never done tapping before, we will just tap on all of these points. So you'll basically just do exactly what I do. Tap on the points that I'm tapping on. Very, like, gentle tap, nothing too aggressive. Think rest. And you'll just repeat after me. So I'll say a statement and then you'll say the next one. Or you'll repeat after me while tapping on these points. Okay. And just say, this is actually a form of rest because you are calming down the body. So you're doing it already. Okay. Starting up at the top of the head. I've realized lately that I have been on the go. And I feel like I literally have not stopped moving. My mind has been racing with thoughts and ideas. And it's felt really fun at times. And it's also felt super overwhelming. I feel like I just have this constant to-do list in my head. And I can never seem to get through it. It just keeps growing. Maybe I need to add rest to my to-do list. Because I've also noticed that I haven't stopped to take a breath. I haven't stopped to look back at all of the amazing things I've done. I haven't stopped to revel in the accomplishments that I have. Because I've just been sprinting forward towards some imaginary finish line. And honestly, I don't even know what's at the finish line. Like, what am I chasing? What am I running after? And is it even worth it if I'm not enjoying it? Is it even worth it if I'm not taking the time to be proud of myself? I think I'm going to start putting some stop signs along this racetrack. Or maybe some slow down signs as well. To remind myself that it's normal to slow down. To remind myself that it's normal to stop and take a break. Maybe drink some water while I'm there. And take a beat to look back behind me at how far I've come. And even though I find it hard to rest, even though resting feels like it would stop me in my tracks, even though resting sounds boring, sounds pretty anticlimactic in the grand scheme of things, and even though I haven't given my body the chance to rest for a while, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. And starting today, I'm going to incorporate rest into my schedule. Starting today, I'm going to find the tiniest ways that I can add in rest. Because I know that rest is sacred. I know that rest is part of the life cycle. And I'm ditching that saying that I'll rest when I'm dead. Because that's bullshit. And because the more rest I get now, will actually prolong my life for the better. The more rest that I get now, means that I can be hiking a mountain in Kauai when I'm 75. The more rest that I get now, means that I'll just be stress-free and calm. And the more rest that I get now, will actually make me more successful. Because when I'm resting and when I'm connecting to myself, that's really when all of the best ideas come through. Because I'm inspired when I'm out in the world. I get inspired when I'm out in nature or when I'm in community. I get inspired by having conversations with others. And that requires me to disconnect from my phone, from social media. And to get out in the world. And rest will look different for me depending on the day. Maybe rest will look like taking a nap on the couch. Maybe rest will look like dancing slowly in my apartment. Maybe rest will look like reading a book. Or maybe rest will look like going for a walk and feeling the sun on my face. And when I can tell that my body is in need of integration, I will simply ask her what she needs. And I'll listen to her and I'll honor her needs. Because I love myself and I love my body. And even though I haven't always listened to my body's needs in the past, even though maybe I've chosen to ignore the signals for rest, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. And I know that the only path is to go forward. Leaping forward like a giant grasshopper. And I will take small leaps or big leaps. and start listening to my body and start resting. Because I know that it is sacred and I know that it is needed. And so it is. All right, take a deep inhale through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Awesome. You all killed it. I hope that you get some rest today in whatever way your body is calling you towards. I know right now I'm going to go for a walk and get out in the sun and drink lots of water. You just moved a lot, so make sure to drink a lot of water and take care of your body and keep yourself hydrated. And thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next Tuesday.